Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. We're going to check out some builds you can try in 10.7 from Korea, starting with a really sick Shyvana top 1. Now, I realized while making this video that my last 3 have actually all been about Korea since I came back from my little break. So my bad, and it won't always be like that, but Koreans are starting to play Shyvana top lane with Death Dance Rush, and I'm not kidding, it's actually really good. It's actually a pretty much full-on heal build. You get your heal from Death Dance, you have the Visage, which makes that even better, so kind of more healing, Conqueror, Ravenous, and also a Taste of Blood. So what made this happen, right? Like, why are they taking this all of a sudden? Well, Death Dance was reworked, right? Gives it tank stats now, but still cooldown reduction, AD, and the 15% heal. This means that she gets more tanky, more damage, and can spit fire healing balls out from range. That means you are maxing your E first, just like Dragon Wizard Shyvana that we have in the jungle right now. It's better for wave clear top lane, but it's really good for fights, actually, even in lane phase, but definitely once you get a few items. When you mark champions with your E, not only does it do some damage anyway initially, but your auto attacks will deal percentage damage against them, right? And since Death Dance is healing from everything, now that damage actually heals you. The first thing you're going to do in every game actually is rush your cooldown reduction boots, which sounds really weird, but that is 10%. Death Dance is going to be 10% CDR as well. Your Rune Shard is going to be 10% eventually, and Visage after is another 10%. So you spam these fireballs out, you heal for more with your Visage, you actually get very tanky. That is the really big part. Like Wizard Shyvana does a ton of burst damage, which is really good, but this is not all about that. You've got armor, magic resist, health, bleed effect, healing as well, and all of that makes you very difficult to kill. Actually, you know what's more fun as well? Since Death Dance is all damage, that means that Thornmail damage, which you buy a third, will actually heal you as well. So they're literally healing you while they attack you. I don't know 100% if that is how it works or not, but I'm sure somebody can tell us in the comments. It should do, and it will be amazing if that is why. This is ultra bad early game, by the way. It's really good with the item power-ups later, but that's the only reason it works. Like the item, the synergy between everything together, and how much you're going to heal and how tanky you're going to be. So that makes a lot of sense. One that is less weird, but one of the best picks in the game over in Korea right now is Galio mid again. Thankfully, not going to be one-shotting you like he did before, but this is a pretty anti-fun champion to play, and it becomes very powerful in Korea as soon as it's meta. You're still going to have ridiculous wave clear. You're going to push, you're going to poke, you're going to roam with your huge ultimate, so the play pattern, the play style is exactly the same every single time. It wasn't too long ago that they gutted him because of that, because it was too powerful, but right now his ultimate gives a magic shield to everybody in the area, not just the one he casts on, everybody for 5 seconds. That came in 10.7. That is why we're seeing him again. So not only do you protect the geezer stuck in the middle of the fight that you decide to ult, lucky him, but you're actually going to be negating all that damage to your whole team. That shield scales off your own W, so it's not that big of a deal, right? It's not going to be huge. Well, actually, it's 20% of his maximum health and max rank, so it is actually a lot, especially scaling throughout the game. That means it's no surprise that mid-game, he's not going to be the best thing ever, but like it's not bad at all, but the 2-item power spike isn't going to be huge. 3 items though, with the bigger shield, with you doing more damage, everything like that, that is the point where you just give up and take it like a champ, because Galio is going to ruin these team fights. That is normal mid Galio, but that's actually not completely true in Korea. That's assuming you rush your Zhonya's second item to be safe, which is nice. If you go Protobelt into Ludens though, you actually murder people at 2 items, because your Ludens does way more damage when you spam out your Q, and then save everybody at 3. When you play like that, Protobelt, Ludens, and Zhonya's as well, this is probably one of the best mid laners in the entire game right now. You have Aftershock to make you very tanky, you do loads of damage, and you have this huge ultimate that gives this massive shield, so you really can't go wrong. Next up, we're going to go back to kind of a weird build. It was actually in my weird builds video, but this is going to be Manamune Draven, and it's really good in solo queue. This is not the first time we've seen Manamune Draven before ever, like in solo queue, but this time it's with a really weird setup. It's that Sanguine and Duskblade follow-up. It's a bit of a different playstyle as well when I watch them. Remember, Draven's ultimate got buffed a little bit, and they actually throw their ultimate to chunk people before a fight even starts, making it easier to assassinate and kill them later. They pick way more fights in general on their own in side lanes as well, almost daring the enemy to come and try and stop them and give them all the juicy stats from that Sanguine blade. With normal Draven, you only need Bloodthirster and Infinity Edge to really start to do some serious damage, so it's 2 items to really mess people up, right? This build really needs its 3 core ones to actually start doing some damage, and that kind of sounds like a bad thing. The good news though is actually the 3 items you need cost 8,400 gold total, and just 2 items for normal Draven, Infinity Edge and Bloodthirster cost 6,900. 3 items for normal crit Draven is 9,500 gold, so it's 1,100 more than this build. build and almost 4 kills more gold. That is a huge chunk of money. This is the other reason that it works. It's very cheap. It makes Draven better earlier in an early game meta where you need to do more damage early so you can actually win earlier. I think you kind of get the point. Now, obviously, sure, it's not going to deal as much damage as 6 items as normal crit Draven, though probably actually for the first few seconds, maybe it will do with Dustblade. The point is you'll have more items than normal, so you will do more until you cap out late game. Also, you get another huge spike when you transform into Mana, so your mid game is insanely good. And actually as well, Manamune is not that bad. Draven is a mana hungry bugger that wants to spam his W to trade, which this lets him do. We might as well talk about Jhin next because this is also happening to him as well. Not the same, sorry to burst the bubble, it's not lethality normally, though some run Edge of Night as well right now, which is actually very good. Dark Harvest is optional as well, by the way. You can run a Fleet if you want to go standard, but Dark Harvest especially is actually quite good at the moment in Korea in general, and it makes a lot more sense with Manamune. Manamune lets him shove the wave and poke more, which isn't bad on him to start with, so you get the mana and a bit of AD, and it's very cheap early into the game. It also means when it transforms, he gets a very long range crit with rapid fire and infinity edge just like normal, and the bonus damage from Mana, which is a ton. Again though, it is dirt cheap, right? So you can get it very early, you get 2 items faster, and that's infinity edge second. The build actually is not that good until you get that infinity edge second, so don't expect to do as much as Stormrazor straight away. Like, you will do better in lane as Stormrazor, but 2 items come faster. It's also a lot better when you get your transformation into Mana. The other part of this, the other part to the damage, is that it grants bonus AD equal to 2% of your maximum mana. So once it is stacked out and once you have some levels and some more mana, it means that it gives you more AD and even more because of Jhin's passive. It seems to be only a specific few that do this right now. It plays exactly the same to the rest of Jhin, and after you get your Manamune, you're basically doing nothing different. We're going to stay in our bot lane and we're going to talk about the only support in the video. The other major change in Korea is Sett support, going from a 1% play rate a few weeks ago to now about 10 to 12% depending on which bracket you're in. Diamond as well is banning Sett so much more right now. It's definitely better as you get higher, and it's getting banned way more. Most of the support, by the way, is with Omnistone. This was in a weird build video that I said you could do if you wanted to. Sett doesn't really have the best keystone as support. Aftershock is okay, but it's nothing special. Omnistone can give him access to a bunch of different things that he can use pretty well. Like Halo Blade, you never take it normally on Sett because you don't want the stuff under it, but the keystone itself is pretty good. Talking about that as well, like the 3 runes under your keystone, it lets him take Hex Flash if you go Omnistone. It sounds very weird, but this is very good to get in range to stun. He's got no dash or anything, right? So you need to get a bit creative. Hex Flash on its own is not that great. It doesn't really allow you to do that, but it works with Nimbus Cloak. It gives you a burst of speed straight after using it, and that is actually what gets you in range and probably what makes Sett support viable. I'm not joking, it is one of the very big reasons it actually works. Without that, he is going to struggle to get in range to use his E and to stun. You've also got your celerity here for that reason, plus swiftness boots as well, so it's a very specific setup that actually makes him work. As a support as well, you've got really good lockdown, you've got really good damage, good engage with your ultimate, and did I mention that damage as Sett support? The true damage especially is nuts, but it also lets you survive a bit longer with the shield, even though you won't have as many items as you do top lane. That's also why you rush a stone plate second. He is a very lane dominant champion though, with Hex Flash, or with normal flash I guess as well, the engage after that speed, and that is what gets you the kills and you snowball into deadmans and stoneplate. He has a crazy win rate early game by the way, but it falls off more and more throughout the game, so you definitely need to play this aggressive in lane if you're going to do it. Next up, we are going to go back to top lane, actually, back to another one abusing Death's Dance. You're going to see this a lot now on a Bruisers and some more aggressive tanks at the same time, because ever since Death's Dance gives armor and magic resist, it means that tanks or Bruisers can have a much better early game if they rush it, even go and tank afterward. They are melee as well, so they get 30% for the bleed over time. They get the healing, they get the damage, and then back to normal tank stuff. Think of it kind of like Iceborne Gauntlet now, right? You take it in easier lanes where you want a bit of damage, and then you go back to tank. Iceborne Gauntlet is 35 more armor. It's specifically an armor item. It gives you mana, it gives you 10% more cooldown reduction, and it gives you the sheen. Death's Dance is much more varied. It's much more like standard. It gives you the 30 magic resist instead of an extra bit of armor. It gives you AD instead of some mana and sheen, and then it heals and has the bleed. It's kind of similar. It's the same idea, but it's better overall for these sorts of champions, and it's much more viable on a lot of different AD bruisers, plus it's good versus AP and AD. I'm not 100% sure, again, like Thornmouth for Shyvana, but the reason Sunfire is so commonly paired with this, I think, is because Sunfire burn damage is better, right? It's based on your bonus health now, it scales better, and that damage is going to heal you with Death's Dance. Poppy specifically is seeing a lot more play right now anyway, even as a jungler. She's actually very strong right now. It's kind of the middle ground between tank that can actually do some good damage. We're going to go into our jungle for this video now. I always try and hit on like one at least per role for a video like this, but jungle isn't really changing that much at all. The one thing I noticed that's popped up more and more is the AP version of Nunu. We see Aftershock, we run around, we gank, we survive forever, then we fall off. That is kind of the Western way of doing it. Well, Korea's win rate with Nunu doesn't fall off over time. It levels off and it stays about the same even late game. A big reason for this is because they rush Protobelt second item and they take Predator instead of Aftershock. This extra damage means that he contributes way more than just a meat shield, which isn't going to be enough later anyway, and it actually improves like your carry potential. You can do more yourself. They will snowball the game way more. You'd be surprised how much more a Protobelt can do for you. You Predator, you snowball, you run somebody down in lane, normally bot lane because there are 2 people to hit, and then Protobelt forward after that hits. The Protobelt is really smart because it makes it more likely your E will root because you're closer, you're further towards them, and that changes into a better placement for your ultimate. Also, did you know as well, fun fact, that for some reason there are 43 games so far in this patch that Nunu has taken cleanse. I wonder why that could be. It has a really bad win rate. And next one, we're going to actually go back into the mid lane. Another very early focused champion. Not really a new build, but Pantheon is one of the best mid laners in Korea now. He's not really played as much outside of Korea, but he's the best early game, and that's why he's used. Like, he dominates the lane phase, chunks people out, bursts them down with the early lethality, and then roams. Sounds familiar, right? And it should do, because it's why Talon has been so broken in Korea for a long time, the entire of Season 10, but unlike Talon, Pantheon has pretty much no bad matchups now. He can do what he likes. You can't really bully him, even though he's melee, because he's going to jump on your face and kill you if you get even remotely close. Your roaming is also way faster and probably more deadly. You're kind of like Twisted Fate, right? And actually, it's just like an AD version of Twisted Fate. That is how you're supposed to play it. Cleaver second is going to make you a bit more tanky, and then Guardian Angel afterwards so you can dive into fights. You're not really designed to play the game as much after that point, after 3 items. If you haven't snowballed and cheesed your way to a win at that point, there's not really much left to do except try to sneak in a few kills when people aren't really paying attention. But at least their stance gives you a bit of a better late game, like with the extra tanky stats and also with the bleed. That is going to wrap up a look into Korea and what they're playing in 10.7. Hopefully a few new builds you can try. I always try them out in normal games, of course. First, let me know how they go, but for now, I will leave you with the robots.